One, two, three, the lawn feed.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Lawn Feed podcast and YouTube and Instagram and all of the different channels that we've got going on. I am Ope, and alongside me, as always, is Vince with Rooted Lawn Co. and Andrew at the Dad Bod Lawn, and we are back talking to you guys about a whole different array of things tonight. It's kind of our first first episode back after a lot of things have happened. First and foremost, you're probably looking at us and looking like, whoa, this is a cool new look that we've got going on. We've rebranded. In case you've been living under a rock, we thought we would get some cool little logos, some cool little merch. We've launched a merch store that you can go check out on every single one of our social channels and our links and all of those, fun things. And I think we can do that on the bottom. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put that in the comments if we can certainly do that. Or just go to thelawnfeed.com and it's right there, and go check out everything that we've got. But we are excited to be back after a couple weeks hiatus. It's been a little bit, you guys. It's been a little bit. It's gotten hot, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It's more like a month plus, by the way, that we've been gone. We've been busy.
Yeah, it's not like we've been taking naps. We've been working.
No.
We've been rebranding. We've been plugging away. So meanwhile, the lawn is thirsty. The weather is hot. The weather is humid.
It's cooking.
No escaping that.
No, there's not. It's cooking. It's hot everywhere. I think I was looking in the middle of the U.S. like $1.15 in like Kansas and stuff, and like the heat index, and that might have been heat index, but I'm just like, man, it is just everywhere. You can't escape it.
Yeah.
And as we're recording this, like the Southeast is just getting pummeled too. But like Vince has said, we haven't really been, just taking off and kicking up. It's been kind of grind time, and honestly, we've enjoyed a lot of time with our families as well, and being dads. And we tried to just kind of check out just a tad bit, and just kind of take a step back for a little bit too. And we thought it would be really fun to come back to the podcast with something a little bit new, little fun twist as dads and parents that everyone can relate to, and just kind of chat through some of our wins as parents and dads, and some of the L's that we've taken, and just kind of go around the horn before we start talking about our hobby in grass and how to survive the summer. Let's try to survive as parents first, right?
Right.
So Andrew, let's go to you, man. What was one win as a dad, and what was one thing that you took flat on the face and called it up as an L?
Well, the first L that I wanted to bring up was I've talked to you guys a lot about my oldest bedtime. It's just an L every night. Okay. Just put that one down and we're moving on. Okay. Bedtime. But you guys know, I just built a swing set, play set for my children, and I mulched an area, took out grass. Well, I ended up making a natural edge, right? And I made like a slope down to about 6 inches deep edge, about 1 foot in. And my son's out there, he's not even 2 years old, running around, tripping over the edge constantly. And he ends up falling on his back down in the little crevice down on the edge, and he's like back and forth. You can't even get out of it, right? He comes out, his whole back is like muddy, full of dirt. Anyways, that's my funny L. Couple of wins. So today I sent you guys a reel that will be posted by the time people watch and listen to this, but it's about listening to music while you mow. My daughter likes to go outside and always be around, wants to be present when I'm doing stuff out there. And she likes taking pictures. And so I'm like, hey, honey, here's a record. Here's my phone. You're going to videotape me today. So she actually videotaped that reel for me, part of it. So that was pretty cool, getting her involved, because she's always excited to see the videos and be out there with
Free
me,
labor.
So. Dude, right? It was a little like you that. We got to get her straighter, but we'll get there. So it was cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and eager to get out there with you and all that too. So that's sweet. Vince, how about you, man?
I'll start with a W. The girls, my wife brought the girls out when I was mowing the other day, and my one is a daddy's girl. So I have twin girls, Emmy and Evie, and Emmy is a daddy's girl, wants to be with me all the time. So they kept coming out while I'm mowing. I was like, all right, picked her up, start laying some one-handed stripes. She was loving it. Well, then the other one wants to get on it. So then I pick up the other one. I'm dual carrying on the hip. Meanwhile, mowing with my time master, laying stripes. Huge win, super fun. It was awesome. The L is a mix between them not wanting to stop helping Daddy mow, and then also the teething aspect of everything. So that's the big old L there.
Yeah, teething's not fun
No,
at
no, it's
No,
all.
not.
no, no.
Sleep is really good, and the diapers are probably right there with it. Teething poops suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss
Anyway,
those. How about you,
no,
Chris?
no, yeah. So we, it's kind of one and the same. I've got an L and a W from the same story. So this past weekend, um, our city had their like summer city days. Every city's got one. They call them something new. And for ours, they go big on like the fireworks, the music, the beer tents, all of those things. So it's like bigger than the Fourth. And it's like 2 weeks after. So like everyone comes down and they really try to make the afternoon for the kids. And we're just getting out of nap time for our oldest, who's 5.5. And our youngest just wants to do everything he does. So whenever we don't take naps, he doesn't want to take naps. So we're marathoning this whole entire day. Right. So we get down there, it starts early. We run into some of his, friends from daycare and all of that stuff, and they're having a blast. They're gonna sleep really well. Fireworks are at 10 o'clock. We're gonna try to get there. Music starts at like 8 o'clock. We're gonna just wing it and see how it goes. Well, as people start flowing in and it gets busier and busier and busier, they're up by the band shell with the actual band. People start flooding in. I go and get something. My wife is watching both of the kids, so I'm going to throw her under the bus immediately because it's absolutely her fault. Sure, I'll pay for that one later. But I
Uh,
come back and all I see is my wife and my oldest kind of looking like aimlessly, like, what's going on? So the L that we fall flat on our face with is we lost our youngest son. Have no clue where he is, and he's 3.5, doing his thing, living life. And my youngest has like my oldest, my 5.5-year-old, just has that like instinct of we need to split up and we need to look for him. And I'm like, you're 5.5. You just thought about that like that without a skip of a beat. Let's spread out and look for him. It's like that was a W of just like something's working. We're doing something right. If he's got that instinct and kind of the big brother mode, so that was cool. And all of a sudden, as we're looking for him, didn't split up, obviously, but all of a sudden, our youngest just comes and taps mom on the shoulder as if nothing was wrong at all. So,
I was really hoping you
hard.
were gonna say like you saw him up on stage all of a
oh
sudden.
yeah,
I wish that, yeah, he was rocking out. That was for sure.
he's
That
up
would
there
have been pretty
singing
cool.
some song he sees on TV. That's yeah.
So that, yeah, we lost our kid, but hey, we
Hey,
found him, and there was a
well,
laugh at the end of it. But
He was up on
yeah,
stage with the new Blippy, and you didn't know the new Blippy was going to be playing tonight. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No kidding. No
I
kidding.
don't like you, new Blippy.
No, no one does. They hate New Livy.
Uh,
It's
cool,
an
man.
interesting topic in Ope World, but
yeah.
yeah. Anywho, so that we want to keep doing that as dads and just kind of open the show with those, and um, yeah, kind of just have some fun with it. But we've got some cool topics, not I guess cool topics, hot topics to talk about because it's hot in summer and we got to get through it. We're just going to talk through everything hot in summer and getting through it, and living in the dog days. So Andrew, why don't I'm going to turn the ball over to you because it's a popular topic of just kind of watering and irrigation and just stuff we should focus on.
Right, watering. I think everybody, when they think about summertime, keeping their grass looking nice, they immediately think about water, right? Because without water, it's most likely going to go dormant. Ideally, you'd give your grass about an inch of water each week, depending on the grass type. Something like perennial rye might need an inch and a half. Tall fescues a little bit more drought tolerant. Um, Sticking with the deep and infrequent watering a couple times a week if you can do that. And then I also, do you guys ever do the cool downs in the afternoon? If you feel like sometimes it's struggling in the afternoon, you just hit it with a few minutes each zone if you have underground sprinkling.
Yeah, I
um
do.
Swinging.
yeah, so I mean the soil can get super hot in the afternoon, so just throwing a little bit of water on it, help cool it down, help those roots get through it. um I like to water based on just how the grass looks. We've talked about it in our previous podcast episode about watering, but just kind of looking at your lawn, knowing what it looks like when it needs water. That the color change, the the footprints in the grass, all that kind of stuff. You stare at your grass every single day as you leave the home, go to work, and come home. You can kind of see those spots from a distance. You can hit those with the hose, hand watering, a small little spot sprinkler. Do what you got to do. um, the time to water your lawn is going to be early morning, like between 4 and 9 a.m. You don't want to do it in the evening because the grass is going to stay wet all night long. It's not going to dry out until probably noonish, early afternoon. So fungus and disease is going to be running rampant this time of year too, because the humidity is already terrible, especially where in the zones that we live in. And we've all found out the hard way this year, right? So the time that you watering is super super important. Avoid nighttime watering. Afternoon, a lot of that's going to evaporate and it's going to be a waste of water. So if you can do early morning, that is best. Avoid overwatering at the same time. Same kind of concept of watering at the wrong times. You just want to avoid the fungus, and the disease pressure is bad with all this humidity. I've been capitalizing this year. I applied hydrotane for the first time. It's like a root moisture management, helps pull in like humidity and stuff, and the grass and soil can utilize it to actually help during the dry times. And I've noticed a difference. I've it's been dry here, and I haven't been watering like as much as I thought I should. So I'm sold on it, and I'm gonna continue to use it, I think. One last thing I want to talk about: if your grass does go dormant and turns brown, you do actually want to continue to water it. You don't want to just like neglect it completely. Like giving it at least a half inch to an inch every 2 to 3 weeks, just so the roots can stay moist. Um, there's that word
Moist.
again. Gosh, I sorry, I had to use it. I
Keep
Moist.
just
it moist.
yeah,
Keep it
keep it
moist.
moist. So, because your grass can actually die if you do neglect it to the point where you just don't give it water for extended periods of time. So, just give it a little bit of love, and then it'll come back, and then you can start enjoying the mow with it again. So, yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
that's about it for watering.
I think one of the
Anything
other
else?
points with watering is that, you got a lot of people think, oh, it's super hot, it's 95 degrees out. But then what you mentioned there was the humidity. Well, the humidity is also 89, 90%. So technically, there's a lot of moisture in the air. You don't need to be watering your lawn as much as you think you are. Just learn to look at your lawn, see the color of your lawn, look at the turgor of your lawn, and just keep a close eye on that. I think that's another important aspect. Now, those are warm season and stuff where it's not as humid down there. That's a different story. But just keep in mind that just because it's super hot, as long as there's some humidity, there is still some moisture.
Yeah, no
Definitely.
doubt. No
Hmm.
doubt. Vince, I'm going to turn it to you because the next most popular question I think all of us get is, can you fertilize in the summer, and what's the best summer fertilizer?
Yeah, best summer fertilizer. There's so many different fertilizers out there, so it's really hard to say go with this brand, go with this brand. It's what works for your budget, works for your soil test, it works for the timing, right? So one thing that I did in particular is I use Simple On Solution 600. It's 6% nitrogen, but it's a super low amount of nitrogen. Um, I put down, I think it was about 10 ounces per thousand, and it came out to like point two, point two pounds of nitrogen per thousand square foot. So I'm talking a little amount, but you're giving your lawn just a little amount of nitrogen just to give it a nice little green up, keep it healthy, keep it fed, especially if you're cutting your turf lower. So the whole point I'm making now is that just smaller amounts of nitrogen, smaller amounts of fertilizer would be best for the summer. If you're following like a 4-step program, you're doing your spring, you do your around May time, end of June. You really shouldn't be fertilizing right now in July. Come August, yeah, you can start putting down your next application, but then you got to think about your fall overseed and aerate and all that good stuff that you're going to be putting most of your fertilizer down. So summer, small increments, liquid fertilizer is great in the early mornings or at nighttime. You can apply that. That way it gets watered in before the heat sets in. You don't want to apply a liquid fertilizer or any fertilizer in the middle of the day when it's 95 degrees. You'll scorch your lawn. And speaking of scorched lawns, if it's brown, If it's going dormant, I wouldn't add any. And I'm not a professional, but I'm just saying from experience, I wouldn't add any nitrogen to that lawn. You could potentially do more harm than good. But potassium is also a great um, macronutrient that you could put down in your lawn. That helps with turgor of your lawn. It helps with some heat stress. So small increments, I think you'll be okay.
That's cool. Yeah, that's something that I think a lot of people don't pay enough attention to. There's a lot of good information that you just said that you can take a ton of layers deeper than that, scientifically, that we don't have the time to go on this show, but there's a ton of benefit to just following exactly what Vince said and then looking into what's right for your specific soil. That we've got a whole bunch of different episodes on. So there's a lot there. And yeah, Vince, I actually have a question for you. You mentioned you threw down 10 ounces per thousand. Did you do that hose end or was it foliar? What did you do?
So I don't do too much hose end spraying. I really enjoy throwing in a backpack sprayer and spraying. Just never got on board with the hose end. I know a lot of people love the hose end sprayers. I just haven't gotten on board with them yet. So it is all foliar application through backpack sprayer.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I know, so the 6.0 is like one of my favorite ones. And I think it was like they recommended on the back like 3 to 4. Not calling you out on doing it wrong, but I've gone heavy myself and haven't really noticed any like damage or anything like that. Um, so I wanted to just kind of know what your experience was doing it that heavy, maybe with that particular product. I don't know.
I,
Um,
I think, like you
it,
said, it still was only like 2/10 of a pound of
yeah.
nitrogen, which is super low, right? I think it's just maybe recommended at a lower rate to be safer, especially for hose on sprayer where you could overlap a lot if you condense it all. Don't realize how fast it leaves the bottle, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and more so just because he's leaving it on the leaf blade, right?
Right.
That's why I was curious on it because
Sure.
I shared a similar experience, Vince. I didn't see too much.
Yeah. So you mentioned the smaller, the 3 ounce per thousand. So I was looking at my total N, per month, and at we can post a little link to how you calculate your liquid fertilizer below. Good resource to know. But at what did I do? I did 10 ounce per thousand. I have 2,000 square feet. It comes out to 0.13 pounds of N per thousand
Mm,
square foot. So
Wow.
it still was a super low amount of
yeah,
nitrogen for that lawn. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's good stuff. And yeah, I've always noticed on the back of those because you look at liquid fertilizers and it says I don't have it in front of me, but for like a backpack sprayer, or, a hand pump sprayer, that's what it is. A pump sprayer, it's like 3 to 4 ounces, maybe up to 6 per 1,000. But then on hose end, because I think you just have more carrier going through it, it's like 10 ounces per 1,000 or 12 ounces per 1,000 or whatever have
Sure.
you on those specific products. That was super confusing to me when I first started.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
about you
think I
guys
think
with
it's a
liquids.
safeguard for people not to go out and put 10 ounce per thousand, and then all of a sudden they're not watering it in, and now we're having a burning, and they're
Right.
calling the company saying, "This is what you told me to do, and my lawn's dead."
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I think another common question that we always get too is just like mowing and like, what do you do in the summertime? Do you mow? Do you not? How do you really go about it? Because we came out of the gates hot in like the springtime, and we'll close out of the gates in the fall, at least in cool season lawns. A little bit different for warm season, but it slows down a lot. Like the growth just slows just because of the heat, and that doesn't necessarily have to slow, but it definitely naturally slows if we don't push it. So naturally, mowing should slow as well. But there's a couple of things to keep in mind. Just very basic things. In the summertime, I always go back to the basics. I think you guys are in the exact same boat. And Vince, obviously, you're real mowing, so it's a little bit different for that. But traditional rotary mowers, make sure your sharp or your mower blade is sharp consistently. I've always followed the rule of thumb, and I don't know if this is right or not, but somewhere when I was younger, I heard every 20 hours of mowing, you sharpen your blade. And I've just followed that and it seems to work. And I don't know if that's too much or too little or what, but it seems to work for me just fine. So that's based upon my experience. Always, always, always try to follow the 1/3 rule. So you're never mowing larger or any more than that top 1/3 of that grass blade off to not stress the grass blade out more than you actually need to, especially with the heat, the humidity, the wind, whatever else has the summer thrown at it. And
So
just
Chris, I have a quick question with that.
yeah.
So you're new homeowner or whatever, you have that 1/3 rule, right? So are you saying if I want to keep my lawn at 3 inches, I want to only be taking a third off? Not, okay, now I let my lawn go, it's at 7 inches. That means I can still take a third off. Well, that's a lot bigger. You're saying is being more consistent in mowing and try and have a number in mind. Like I want to be at 3 inches, so nothing more than a third of 3 inches I should be taking off. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna dumb it down to like elementary math because 3 inches there's like decimals and stuff with that. So if you wanted to keep it at 2 inches,
What are
two
decimals?
inches. Well, yeah, I don't know what that when they
I
start
was
putting numbers with it or letters with it.
I was trying to do the math in my head, and I'm like, what
Like,
is a third? Because it'd be, go ahead.
yeah, nope, that's out the window. If you want to keep your grass blade at 2 inches and your grass blade is currently at 3, you're only taking an inch off of the grass blade, is what that means. You're not going
Yeah.
down all the way to an inch and letting it grow all the way back up. What you said, Vince, is exactly right. I just suck at math. So
Right there with you.
this is why where we are in our life. We're on a podcast talking about grass because we suck at math.
Calculators, baby.
Yeah.
Calculators.
Yeah. So because of that, it's a good point that you bring that up. It could differ from lawn to lawn. And it's important just to keep tabs on that. You might, in the summertime, be mowing more than you thought you would, and you might be mowing less than you thought you would. It just kind of depends. And obviously everything we've talked about with watering and irrigation and fertilizing might have something to do with that. But keep that in mind. The other two tips that I've just kind of noticed work very well in the summertime is changing directions in your mowing patterns, not stressing the grass blade out. If you have a lawn striper, which all of us do, I've seen a lot of people take those off for a couple of these hot summer months. I don't know if there's any truth behind that or not. Vince says no. He's like, screw that, I'm striping.
Yeah,
I am too, but it rolling the grass might stress the grass blade out, right?
Yeah, sure.
If you're not keeping up with good practices. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been paying attention to and all of that stuff. So
Yes.
anything you guys want to add?
Nothing. I think even if you feel like you might not need to mow, like if you normally mow twice a week and you're like, maybe I don't need to mow twice a week anymore in the summer. If you have time to do it and you enjoy doing it, get out and do it, just because come around fall time, you don't want to be in a bad habit, and all of a sudden you're like, I can just do it once a week again. You're breaking that 1/3 rule. And for me, if I stop mowing if it's twice a week, my wife's like, well, why are you mowing twice a week now? You don't need to be out there. You haven't been doing that before. So yeah,
Never easy going back into the fall, is it?
Yeah.
I think
love fall.
I think the one thing I'll add to that too is have fun doing everything.
Yeah.
Because if you're not having fun, or at least like trying to have fun with it.
Hey, one more thing. What time of the day is best to mow in the summer? Like, can you mow in the middle of the heat? Should you mow in the morning? Should you mow in the evening? What do you guys think?
That is a great question. I always mow right. Well, this is well, I shouldn't actually say this. I mow when I have time, and that generally is in the evenings.
Yes.
That might not be the best answer to publicly go out there and say, but that's when I do it because that's when I have time.
Yeah. I think we're all in the same boat there. You mow when you can. For me, that's during my son's nap time in the early afternoon when it's the hottest. But I don't know. My lawn still looks good and I'm happy with it. So
Vince, when do you mow? Because you mow every goddamn day. So
I mow when I'm able to mow, which is usually around
every day
in the afternoon when it's hot. So
every
one thing
day
I will
at
do
5:17.
When I do get to mow, or when I do mow, I'll usually, if it's a front lawn, which I real mow, I will syringe it. Usually, just a quick post workout wet down of the lawn, and it's looking okay right now. Or I try and time it around, like, okay, I'm gonna tomorrow is my water day, so I'm gonna mow tonight. Let's give it a little water.
You want to see a lawn that looks boss, and Andrew, you're gonna have to edit this in, but this is what Vince's lawn looks like as of last week, and it looks tits. Like that's the best lawn I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks awesome.
It makes me want to
It's
stop like putting my lawn online. Like I don't want to post my pictures online anymore.
No.
I got done with that mow and I texted the guys here and I was like, this is probably the best mow I've ever had. Like it just looks awesome.
You
It's
sent
not
us that, and we're out there for another 15 minutes just staring at it, guaranteed.
like it's a background on my phone now. I'm just kidding.
Probably is. Probably. I couldn't stand up for like a half hour, but that's neither here nor there. All right, you guys. Anyway, all right, everybody. Hey, I just want to go out there. If you're listening on the podcast, if you have been listening on the podcast, shout out to you guys. Thank you. Just know that you guys can find us on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, and all of the major audio platforms and podcasting platforms. So keep following us, keep listening. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back pretty consistently from here on out in kind of a bi-weekly format going out for the rest of the summer. So if you guys have any questions, throw them down in the comments, reach out to us at the Lawn Feed or individual accounts. We will get to you. Go check out our merch store and our website at thelawnfeed.com. On behalf of everyone here, it's been great for another episode, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
See ya.